Essence Fest is right around the corner, which means that the Road to Essence tour is already underway. The Road to Essence tour consists of cities all across the country hosting events that highlight our Black excellence, our Black culture, and Black community, all in preparation for the ultimate celebration of our Blackness, the Essence Fest. And while on the road to Essence Fest, we are stopping at a prominent city for Blackness, known for its rich Black history and for its Black progression, Montgomery, Alabama, where they are hosting an official Road to Essence Fest event called the Fine and Dandy Affair. The Fine and Dandy Affair is an all-day event that combines community-wide events during the day and an evening gala to top it off that night. In this episode, I sit down with the Dr. Dobbs, who was both the Director for Cultural Affairs for the City of Montgomery and the creator of the Fine and Dandy Affair, to talk to her about her inspiration behind creating this event, what the event is, and more. So I hope you enjoyed this special episode that celebrates our Blackness, our Black history, our Black progression, the Essence Fest, Montgomery, Alabama, and the Dr. Dobbs herself. Okay, no, but can we talk about this one, y'all?
Oh, can we talk? Can we talk about it? Can we talk? Can we talk about it? Can we talk? Can we talk about it? Can we talk? Can we talk about it?
I am so excited to be here today with Dr. Hobbs, who is leading the Dandy Affair event that is a part of the Road to Essence Fest. Dr. Dobbs, thank you so much for being here today. How are you? How you feeling? It's almost time for the event.
Woo! Yes. Well, thank you for having me. It is, it's crunch time. And so, there's excitement and motion and all the things that happen. It's sort of like planning a wedding and then waiting for the wedding day to happen,
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you do as far as your, 9 to 5 is concerned, and how or what roles you play in the actual Dandy Affair event.
Sure. So I'm actually the Director of Cultural Affairs for the City of Montgomery and serve on the cabinet of our first Black mayor, Mayor Stephen L. Reed. And in that capacity, I am responsible for the city's library system, the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts, the Armory Learning Arts Center, the City Events Department, and then the Office of Cultural Affairs. And so we are responsible from a city perspective to provide our citizens with some really wonderful, diverse array of events and experiences to just add to their quality of life in this city.
So I'm curious to know, you mentioned a lot about arts and culture in your background. Has that always been a passion of yours? I want to know a little bit more about how you ended up in this role. And then I want to know how that prepared you and led you into preparing for the Dandy Affair event. Because that's as someone who is into fine arts myself, that stuck out to me. Like that's a passion of mine. So I'm just curious to know how you ended up in that position.
Think about it one day, because it's sometimes you're like, how did I get here? Right? But I think it's because I like to call myself a Jill of all trades, right? Yes, a Jill of all trades. I started off in the for-profit sector, in banking, in manufacturing, and I realized for me, it was empty, right? It was just transactional, and I like a human experience. And so I forayed into and got introduced to the nonprofit sector. I didn't know it was a thing. Now, simultaneously, I was also, in my previous life, maybe you and all our friends can keep it secret, but I was a professional dancer. So used to be a baton twirler, an ice skater, all those things. So I had a very well-rounded upbringing, right? And so with that said, I went into nonprofit. I learned about community development. I learned about arts organizations, the United Way. I worked in higher education administration. And then I was selected by the county executive and county council to serve as the charter member inaugural chair of an economic development authority. So here I am, a young neophyte in charge of $24 million. And I'm supposed to figure out what to do with this new pot of money and how to impact the city in a very positive way, in very diverse ways. So I think all of that married together led to where I'm at now, right? Because my father always said, don't stay stuck. Get very different experiences. You need at least 8 in your lifetime. And so when I think about, I needed all of those skills to be able to do what I'm doing now, right? I'm the first sort of foundational director of this department. It's a new department. Mayor Stephen Reed is the visionary behind establishing it. No, a lot of cities
No,
don't even have
yeah.
one. So it hasn't been a, yeah. So it hasn't been around long. So you think about what does a position like mine take, right? You have to understand politics. You have to understand economic development and how arts and culture feeds into that, and placemaking, and banking and money, and and how to have a I would say public presence in all of those things. And then I realized, all right, God, it's that puzzle piece came together, and it prepared me for this. And at this point, I feel like I'm being used, therefore, for his mission to help citizens in the way it's been determined, right? And that is via working and collaborating with wonderful staff, partners, community members, etc., to provide a quality of life. Because if you think about it, if everything else didn't exist, arts and culture always has, and it has always been the way everyone can communicate. If we don't know each other's language or ways of doing things, we have music, we have dance, we have all those things that are beautiful and can connect us. And so that's what my position, I feel, is focused on. How do I use this position and all of those who work with me, because a leader is no one without without its partners, to create that connection and also create a quality of life where you just really feel good
Wow,
about your
that is
community.
beautiful. I absolutely love that. And I want to know now, I guess I kind of got to get out of himself a little bit, but I want to know now what the Dandy Affair is and how your history, your prior experience, and your current job role prepared you for your role in making the Dandy Affair the real thing. What's that story about? I'm curious to know that as well.
Okay, okay. Well, in my previous job, I oversaw an award show for High School Musical Theater, and in my tenure there, we won our first Emmy, and by the time I was done, we had 6 Emmys and 7 Emmy nominations, right? So that added another layer of expertise. And the venue I worked in hosted tons of awards shows, the BET Hip Hop Awards, the Black Music Honors, the Stellars, etc. And so now there's an additional layer of having been a performer, and now working with a lot of celebrities and various talent to put on a beautiful experience, right? And so you take sort of the Jill of all trades background, you take that experience and that heightened level of planning, and then when you start a new position and say to the honorable mayor, what are the 3 to 5 things you want to see happen? Because, I'm here to help fulfill your vision. And one of them is to, hey, I want to raise the level of arts and culture visibility to the world. Montgomery has a wonderful, tight-knit arts and cultural community that supports each other, which doesn't happen everywhere else. And so with that in mind, as I'm building an airplane and flying it, in this new job, I'm constantly thinking, how do I fulfill this? So it took about a year to figure out what occurs, what exists, what doesn't, where gaps are, those type of things. And what happened was, I thought to myself, there's no signature event for the city, right? You go to Atlanta, you go to other places. Miami has Art Basel. Atlanta has,
Yep.
seersuckers and sundresses. There's all
Yep.
these things, right? Yes, yes. And I thought Montgomery is known for its history, but here's the thing: Montgomery is historical and and there's a blank after that. We're not just one thing, we're two or more things at once. So the idea came with dandyism. I used to want to be a clothier so bad, right? I loved men's dress. I loved the fact that they didn't have as many options as women, but with just the touch of a brooch or a handkerchief or a pair of funky socks, it really changed the outlook of their suit. And a three-piece really added something versus a two-piece. And so with that in mind, I thought dandyism, because dandyism also has a history, right? It's from the 18th century and used to be very for the aristocracy, and has evolved to be available to every man, right? You can go to a thrift store now and get clothes and be a dandy. And so I thought, how appropriate to Montgomery. Montgomery has a history that is girded in civil rights and a wonderful history in so many other ways. Wonderful and not so wonderful,
Right.
but it is what it is, right? So it has a history, but I was looking at that evolution to where we are now, having our first black mayor, having all of this progression. And I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to marry dandyism's history with Montgomery's history, and we're going to call it something other than a gala. And so I said, well, I said to myself, that's just fine and dandy. And I went, wait a minute. That old saying, fine and dandy,
Okay.
And I said, and I don't want to use gala. Like, I'm someone who purposely, if anything's done, I really typically don't like to do it. So I said, you know what? We're going to call it something elegant, a fine and dandy
I love
affair.
that.
So
Okay.
that's where the idea came from. And the premise was, you're not going to dress up just to get dressed up. We're going to celebrate Montgomery and her citizens, her students, her creatives, her businesses, her leaders, everything. But we're going to have fun
So
doing
what
it,
all does the Dandy Affair consist of?
The Dandy Affair consists of a community affair. The community affair is free, right? I want to ensure there's something for everyone. So this free portion is going to be held on the historic campus of Alabama State University from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., right? We're going to have a 5K, kick off the day with a nice healthy walk, run. I will be a bystander because exercise kills me. So, so I told her, I was like, "Ooh, that kills me." I'll hand out some water. But we're going to start that off. And guess who is leading it? First Lady Tamika Reed and the incomparable Toya Johnson.
Okay.
And the entrepreneur, TV personality, and author herself. And of course, she's a huge fitness nut, right? And so, perfect person to have there. So she and First Lady will lead that. Following that, there are going to be a ton of health and wellness sessions because we want to help the community understand how to ensure longevity for themselves and their loved ones. We're going to have local experts, but we're also bringing in celebrity experts. There's value to uplifting our local people and to having folks from the outside bring some thoughts and best practices. Following that, we have a wealth, entrepreneur, and tech session where now we're going to focus on helping folks build their wealth, their legacy, and building capacity of their businesses and more. And so there will be even more workshops. This entire time, there's going to be vendors, food trucks to address both of the subject matters. And we will have it end with a youth entrepreneur panel. We are going to have the lovely 14-year-old Raylyn Holt, who's from Montgomery and has been on the Jennifer Hudson show. She's going to talk to other youth hopefuls about her journey as a youth entrepreneur, right? Because we have to create that pipeline and build up our babies. So we're going to have a ton of different experts. You're talking Talia Wajid, you're talking Dr. Jatali Bellaton, you're talking Cynthia Bailey. Geez, there's so many more I'm trying to remember, but I mean, you're talking 5 or 6 different celebrities with a lot of our beloved local celebrities coming together, to provide some much needed information for our community and anyone else from beyond. Following that, it
Okay.
ends at 1. We have a break, and then we go to the gala from 7 to 11 p.m. It's going to be held in the sculpture garden of a community gem, the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts. One
Yeah.
of the, I think it's a gem. I know it's a gem, and it's also part of my department.
Let's circle
So, yeah.
moment.
Okay, there we go. But this gala is going to be wonderful in the fact that everyone has to come dressed in dandy wear and wear green. We will have 4 artists creating live works. We are partnering with Trenham Community College with their culinary arts program to highlight students who make some gourmet food. So we'll have 8 gourmet food stations. We will have Eva Marcel as host,
Gee.
the iconic
Yes,
model,
ma'am.
actress, and yes, yes. We will also have performances from the Lloyd and the Tamar
Oh,
Braxton. Okay.
okay. Very dandy indeed. Wow,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, and we're gonna have sold out band there providing some
Okay.
background music. So, and I won't even talk about all the other celebs that'll be in attendance. Um, but that event again is to celebrate us, Montgomery. So much bad goes on in the world. We got to sometimes slow down. Adulting
Right.
is hard, and sometimes it's okay to stop, celebrate the life you've been given, get dressed up, have some fun, and that's what we'll be doing. Plus, we're giving out some awards.
Girl, what
They will be
awards?
handmade by local. Yeah, they're going to be called the Mayor's Cultural
Mm-hmm.
Impact Awards, and they will be made by local artists, many of whom have had their works displayed in Europe and elsewhere.
Oh,
Um,
this is fancy.
so I really don't think this is anything anyone
Not at
wants
all.
to
This
miss.
sounds so unique and so intentional, even down to the color scheme. Now, I need to know
Yes.
why green? What is the significance with green being a part of the dress code? Is there a tie between that and dandyism? I want to know the backstory for that.
So, and first of all, let me
Thank
compliment you
you.
on your
I
green,
thought that was
okay?
so I
Dandy
had to,
girl.
adhere to the dress code, get people ready, give people, give people ideas of dandyism and greenery at the same time. So, I tried.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Um, so the first year we thought the consistent color every year
Mhm.
is black and white, and that's a reference to civil rights. That's a reference to days of old, and every year the highlight color is going to change. That's the surprise. Yep. So this year's green color is because we were thinking of renewal, right? Just spring, green grass, fresh leaves, flowers. Just this renewal because we're trying to help people think about in a positive way. This is not it's a cultural moment, but it's a cultural
Mhm.
movement. We need you to understand Montgomery is history and
Mhm.
ABCDE. And so that's the purpose behind the color scheme. It'll be announced at the gala what next year's color
Oh,
is.
okay.
But the second reason for the coloring is because part of the art of there's an art to
Mhm.
dress, period. So we want to see every year if we give you a color, how do you interpret
Mhm.
that art? Right? Because a lot of people said, "Oh, I don't have green." You're right. It's not a typical color.
Right.
Figure it out. That's the fun part. Yeah.
I appreciate it. It kind of adds to the whimsy and the need to get away from the whole idea of adulting and the monotony of adulting. you don't really think about attending a formal event and thinking of
Yes.
the color green. That's so unique. And so I appreciate that level of
Hmm.
intention and thought being put into this kind of event because it does feel refreshing. It does feel like a renewal and it feels fun because why not get dressed up with a theme? We love a
Yes.
good theme. So the idea of being able to dress up in that green, just all that sounds great. And yeah, I love that. That stood out to me a lot when I was reading about it. I was like, green? Well, why green? And I really had to know the
Yeah.
backstory to that. So that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I want
Sure.
you mentioned about there being a health event starting off the whole day, and then it goes into entrepreneurial events and workshops. And I'm curious to know why you wanted to include health and wellness and workshops to help the audience and members learn more about how to make money, how to build their brands, and entrepreneurship. And I also want to know why was it important to you to include youth and entrepreneurship as well?
Good questions. Um, the reason for that, the intention for that, is because the, well, not even just the African American community, the underserved community, period, right? Because I do want to make clear everyone is
Right.
welcome to this event. Everyone, right? But typically in underserved communities, but especially the African American community, there are certain health issues we face that others may not face, right? Certain disparities. And so I felt it important to address those topics because of that, right? A lot of times, certain communities have a lack of information about where to go for assistance, how to better take care of themselves, how to get over the mental blocks of setting up yourself for success as far as building your own business and being your own boss, and being unapologetic about it. And so those reasons are important. But more importantly, there's a generational shift going on, right now. We're in it. Are trillions, tens of trillions of dollars passing from one generation to the next. How many are passing in
Yeah.
underserved communities, in communities of color? We got to think about that, right? So the more we can encourage a pipeline, which is our babies, the better off we'll feel when we get called home and as they grow up, and take up the baton for the next generation after them. And so that was the thought
There's
between
so
all of that.
much passion and love and care for community that I can hear in you describing the meanings behind this event. I can really tell that a lot of time, effort, and thought was put into this event, not just for today, but tomorrow and to make a lasting impact. And I really appreciate that because I find that so many events now are very money focused, very money hungry, very
Hmm.
lacking that passion, lacking that
Hmm.
intention. So it really is refreshing
Hmm.
to hear someone put so much of what sounds like themselves and their history and their work experience
Hmm.
into making sure this event is for everybody and everyone is seen in the event. Kudos to you because I can hear it. I can hear the
Oh,
beauty
thank you.
and I know this event is going to be amazing and then some, and I'm really excited to see it come to fruition. I do have a couple more questions though, if you don't mind. Are you still all right with me?
Oh,
Okay.
no, 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 that's fine. I do want to add that you're correct in that I am extremely protective
Mhm.
of the intent too. So I am not allowing any other agendas but the focus on the community and the intent of the
Mhm.
whole affair. So I want to make that clear too. No one's going to come in and change and make it about themselves or their organization. If you're not focused on Montgomery and her people, you know,
I get that. I
go
get that, and I
elsewhere.
think that that kind of gatekeeping is
Hmm.
needed to preserve the intent behind the event. It's so easy for that intent to get lost and letting too many people's vision try to cloud it. So kudos to you for having those boundaries and saying,
Yes.
"No, this is about Montgomery. This is about us honoring not just the history, but the and beyond." That's phenomenal. I really respect that and appreciate that, and we need more of that, quite frankly. So I do have a question kind of piggybacking off of that, and I'm curious to know, how does this event
Mhm.
position Montgomery as the future of future Southern destination for tourism, culture, and economic growth? How does that play a role in all that connect?
Sure. I mean, I think this is a part of it. I won't say we're the be all end all because there's so many, good people doing so
Right.
many good things to that effect as well here. But what this does, it has helped raise the visibility on not just a regional, but a national and
Hmm.
global scale. The partnership that we have with Essence, a long revered, I won't even say it's not a publication, it's an institution. And it's an institution part of a larger conglomerate. So the partnership with another storied organization that has the means to provide additional media, who absolutely loves the idea of this and wants to be in ground floor and be a part of that growth process, has been absolutely wonderful and has helped to uh, raise the level of visibility, and it's helping to meet what the mayor originally said. I want the world to know who we are and what we're about, in addition to our
Hmm.
storied history. And so that part has been really wonderful. And this is only year one. We're going to keep doing this. And we've purposely built it so that it has
Hmm.
scalability. So if you think this year is great,
So just
wait
buckle
till
up,
next
huh?
year. Buckle up.
So earlier in the
Yes.
conversation, you mentioned there being awards at the gala event, and I'm curious to know what those awards are and what are you aiming to celebrate in providing those awards, and do those awards have any significance to the event itself?
Great question. The awards are going to be a new set of awards. They're going to be called the Mayor's Cultural Impact
Okay.
Award. And we are going to focus on those who have impacted the culture, right? Because culture is not just painting or dance or, culture is so many things. It's storytelling, it is building cities, building organizations, all of that. Now, what is unique within that is that our awards are going to A, be handmade, and B, they will be the
Oh,
ampersand symbol.
wow.
So, why the ampersand symbol? Well, what does an ampersand mean?
And
It means
yeah.
and, right? And so, what I want people to experience who come here for the first time and in future years, and as this event and the city of Montgomery grow, is that and
Hmm.
part, right? And means we are more than. Okay? Montgomery is history and culture, history and business, history and her citizens, history and progression. There is a blank after that that is to be filled by our current and forthcoming citizens. And so that is the thought behind the award. We're going to celebrate the award by having it be differently made by different artists
Wow.
every year, so that it is not a sort of antiseptic staid type of award that you can just order for
Hmm.
$5, online. No, these are going to be
This is intentional.
yeah,
Yeah.
these are going to be very
Right.
thoughtfully made. Yeah, very intentional from local artists who, a lot of them have been displayed
Hmm.
around the world, right? So they have aesthetic and, and even more very intentional value and
Hmm.
beauty to them. And so really that ampersand, that signifies everything about Montgomery, where we're at now and where we'll be in 5 to 50 years from
Okay. Well,
now.
I'd never thought to make an award an ampersand sign, but with that breakdown, it really ties everything together as far as what you are trying to highlight with the Dandy Affair. It's not just the history of Montgomery, but it's also the history and what it is now and what it will be in the future. And I feel like there are so many themes, the kids and the entrepreneurial, the health and wellness, all of those things are done to not just highlight where we've come from, but where you all are headed and where you all want to be in the future. That is so beautiful. And I look forward to seeing how the actual awards look, because different artists every year, and artistry is so vast, there's no telling how they'll look every year too. That's so creative. But I genuinely want to thank you for speaking with me on the event. Can you tell the people where the event will be held, what time, what day, all that good information? Please let us know.
Sure, sure. Thank you again for having me. It's been wonderful experience. To wrap it up very quickly, the community affair is 1 zillion% free. It will be held from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the Alabama State University campus. Then the Fine and Dandy Gala, the culminating event, is from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. That will be held in the John and Joyce Cadell Sculpture Garden of the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts. It is a ticketed event. I'm sorry, everything can be free. But you can go to mgmfineanddandy.com and purchase your tickets or table
Okay.
or sponsorship on
And
that
I will
page.
be sure to post that link in the description
So,
box of this episode as well for you too. Absolutely. And
thank you
thank
so
you again
much.
for having me. And I wish you this event great luck. You don't need luck. It's going to be great anyway. But I look forward to seeing not just how it goes this year, but for years to come as well. And shout out to Anne. I think that's the word of the day. The word of the day is Anne, because Montgomery is so much more than what it's been before. It is and more. And I thank you so much for meeting with me. And I wish you luck and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you
You
so
too.
much. Have a great day.